Hello everyone.
I just want you guys to know that this video did not go as planned. Like, at all.
Today we're back in our comfy clothes because today we are talking about books again. So before I start talking my face off, let's just get straight into it. So if you by any chance watched my last video, number one, I introduced the whole Nurses Book Club. That was a whole yay moment. And secondly, I was talking about the series I was going through. It was a series by P.J. Piper, pretty sure it's called The Night and Its Moon, and I was under the impression that I was reading the last book in its series. This is said book. I was going through this book during the last video, finished the book, and it didn't seem like the story was done. And I was like, what's going on here? Googled it. The story's not done. There's a whole nother book to come. So I rush my butt to Amazon, look for it. Next book isn't out till March, which granted isn't that long of a wait. Because if you and I are in the same boat and you're waiting for the last book of the Empyrean series from the Fourth Wing, we gotta wait all the way till December. So from now to March, easy. But I still have to wait, and I was under the impression that I was reading the end. So I'm not going to review these books yet till I read the whole thing, because I feel like that's a little too choppy. So what I'm going to do is just introduce the next book that I'm reading, and once I get the other book, I'll obviously introduce that one, and then I'll just review the whole thing, because I just started that series before I even started the channel, so I'll just review it as a whole. So finish this one, interesting, but I'll get into it later. And now we're going to introduce the next book we're going to read as a group. So in my room currently, there are like two books that I was like waiting to read. One is a super popular book that everyone and their mother has read, but I just never got into that genre yet, but I wanted to, so I bought it. So I was debating, like, am I reading that one or this other one, since I'm waiting for this last book to come in the mail from Amazon. So I didn't feel like I should start another series that is like real big until I finished this one. Even though this next book, I'm not even sure if it's big or not, but I've heard good things. Even though it is a series as well, it is, but not as big as the other one. So I'm not going to say what the other one is. I'm just going to introduce the one I'm starting now. A lot of talking. Let me just show the book. So the next book I want to be reading is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I've just heard good things about it. I am a sucker for dragons. I read all the, Aragon, Fourth Wing, anything with dragons in it. Love it. And I heard that this is more of an adventure rather than a love story. I have no idea what this book is about. Let's see. They fought in a battle, destroyed kingdoms, destroyed themselves. It obviously has fictional creatures in it, different names, different, what's it called? Dialects, which I'm also a sucker for. So this is what I'm going to start reading. And hopefully if people like it, they'll start reading it too. I will review it when I'm done. I do believe when I saw this in Barnes & Noble that they were 3 books.
I don't know why I felt so confident, but something told me to check it out before I kept going.
You know what? Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna find out if this is even a finished series because I can't do this twice. Let's see. This might be unfortunate. So according to Google, there are 3 books in the series. When was this thing written? According to Google. So October. Oh my god. So it's not a finished series. It is not a finished series. It says here on Amazon that the last book, book 3, will be released on October 22, 2024. I'll be fine. By the time I read this one, I can't be reading all these books in random order. I'm gonna forget what they're all about.
So, of course, instead of just sticking with the book, I had to take a trip to our favorite store, Barnes & Noble's, to get a book that I can actually read. It is the next day though. This is not the day I started recording. I really couldn't finish the video knowing that the book I had chosen was an unfinished series like the series before it. So I go in and visit my favorite spots. I hit up the fantasy section, I hit up the young adult section, and I actually hit up the just straight up fiction section. I don't usually go to that spot because it's not fantasy and it's set in like my timeline, but I did end up going there. I ended up finding some stuff and I got a couple picks and I brought them home, and I will show you what I got.
So as you can see, it's a new day. I decided that I did not want to start a series that hasn't been completed yet. Will I be reading that book eventually? Sure, but not right now. It has to be done so I can read it all the way through. So, as you saw, I went to Barnes & Noble's, picked up a couple things, and I will show you the ones that I bought. The first one I picked up, which I'm sure everyone has read already, is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know how to say her last name. Sorry. I've just heard way too much about it to not read it. I remember trying to read one of her other books and I just couldn't get into it, but it was years ago. So I'm just gonna give it another shot. And this is a whole different series. So this is number one. I was looking for a lot of standalone books. This is a random one I saw. I don't know if it's popular or not. The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz. I don't really know what it's about, but it's this one. It looks like two people, might be a romance story. Who knows? But it was in the fantasy section, so looks good. The cover is what really caught my eye, and when I picked it up, I was like, all right, it sounds interesting. So hopefully we'll get into it at some point. This is another one that the cover caught me more because it looks like a Studio Ghibli cover, but it's not really. It's called The Beast Player by Naoko Ueshiba. Oh my god, I'm sorry. It's about ghosts and spirits and something of that nature. It was in just the young adult section, not the fantasy section, but it looks like something I'll be into. So this is another one. I believe, no, it's not a standalone. It has a second book on the back, but it's out. All right, I don't have to wait for it. It's here. That's number 3. The last one I got, which it looks like not a book I would ever read just because it wasn't in the fantasy or young adult section. It's called A Little Life, but I've heard so many things about it. I've seen way too many people crying reading this book, and I just have to know. I'm not an emotional person. I'm not an emotional reader, but this one seems to get people in their feels a lot. Apparently it's about 4 friends that go through college and life together. Anything else, I don't know, but the cover also lets you know it's gonna be heart-wrenching. So those are the 4 I got. 2 are a little more well-known. The other 2 random that I saw that interested me. So since I went on a little book spree, instead of choosing it myself, I would hope that enough people would see this and choose a book for me. I'll probably let up a poll at some point and put the books up there and see which ones everyone will want me to read next. I will eventually read this one. This is the one I was going to start, but it's not finished yet, and I just would rather all the books be out for me to start it. So I'm just going to put this on a back burner here. And these are the 4 that I have now. So if you're down, you can choose what you think I would enjoy next, or if you've already read one, give your opinions. Don't spoil it. I can give the spoilers, you can't. But that's about it. That's the end of this video now. I was going to end it before and I was just going to go ahead and read that one, but I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a book that I can just read and enjoy and put down and start a different one at the end. So if you're feeling up to it, please choose a book for me because I am indecisive and I want to read every single one of these. Other than that, hope you're having a good day. I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to go eat something now.